Tonight, it is my honor and privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
President Trump makes his nomination for the Supreme Court. Local reaction first tonight at 10.
Plus, a recent road closure and detour connecting West Madison and Middleton leads to dozens of tickets and even arrests.
And later, is electric right for you? The benefits and fallbacks of going gas-free. Straight ahead at 10.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thanks for joining us. President Trump tonight doing something for a second time, what some presidents never get to do.
He announced his nominee, Judge Brett Kavanaugh, to fill a soon-to-be vacant position in the nation's highest court.
Judge Kavanaugh has impeccable credentials, unsurpassed qualifications, and a proven commitment to equal justice under the law.
The 53-year-old Kavanaugh is a professor at Yale, Harvard, and Georgetown universities and has been serving as a federal appeals court judge.
My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law.
If approved by the Senate, Kavanaugh will fill the soon-to-be vacant position of Supreme Court Judge Anthony Kennedy, who has been on the bench for 4 decades.
Wisconsin politicians and groups are chiming in on the president's decision this evening. Our Keely Arthur shares what leaders in the Badger State are saying. Keely?
That's right. Reaction to President Trump's decision came in shortly after the announcement. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan of Janesville tweeted, "Judge Brett Kavanaugh is an excellent choice," linking to a statement that went on to say Kavanaugh will bring extensive experience to the Supreme Court and that constitutional principles are the ultimate guide for his opinions. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson released a statement saying in part, "I look forward to meeting with Judge Kavanaugh and the Senate moving expeditiously through the confirmation process." And on the other side of the aisle, Senator Tammy Baldwin is slamming the pick, stating in part, "People need an independent justice who will not overturn the law of the land on women's health care for people with existing preconditions and the constitutional rights and freedoms of all Americans." Now, one of the biggest concerns regarding this Supreme Court pick, the fate of abortion rights in the country, and if the Supreme Court will bring that landmark 1973 decision of Roe v. Wade that legalized abortion out of dormancy. We sat down with an expert on American politics from the University of Wisconsin earlier. Here's what he said.
I don't think that Roe versus Wade is going to be something they're going to target right off the bat. I'm fairly skeptical that it's going to get the attention that the groups on the left and the right are talking about right now.
We also caught up with Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. They shared that they hope, for the sake of upholding Roe v. Wade, Trump's nominee is not confirmed.
We can be out mobilizing and engaging with supporters and voters in Wisconsin and across this country to tell our senators we need them to do their job. And their job should not be to confirm a nominee that is so out of touch with the rest of the country on this issue. 72% of voters in this country do not want to see Roe overturned.
And Wisconsin has a law on the books that makes abortion a felony. And if Roe v. Wade is overturned, that would go back to the states, and abortion, therefore, would become a felony in the state of Wisconsin.
Keely Arthur reporting tonight. Keely, thank you.
We'll have continuing coverage of tonight's nominee, including reaction from local and national lawmakers. That'll continue tomorrow on News 3 this morning, and as always at channel3000.com.
Let's turn it over to weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti has our first alert forecast. Gary?
Charlotte, it was a warm and steamy day today, but there was not much rain across the state. In fact, as we take a look at Weather Track, you can see there are just a few sprinkles in far northern Wisconsin. And on Doppler Track right now, those are just about gone. They're out over Lake Michigan with a couple of flashes of lightning. I don't even think we'll see any rain here in the Madison area from here on out. High temperatures today were in the upper 80s to the lower 90s. Madison was at 88, but Milwaukee hit 91 as the La Crosse and Lone Rock and Mineral Point and Janesville all hit 90 degrees. Current temperatures are still pretty mild. Here in Madison, we have the warmer temperature around, or at least one of them, with 80. Milwaukee's at 82. Everybody else is in the mid to upper 70s. But look at the dew point temperatures. They're still in the lower to middle 70s, even though the cold front has passed through. So it feels like it's 84 right now. But eventually that humidity should drop. By tomorrow morning, temperatures will be in the middle 60s. We'll see temperatures climb through the 70s in the morning and reach the middle 80s in the afternoon. But with lower humidity, it shouldn't feel quite as warm. That's your First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. Construction in Middleton is pushing traffic to side streets.
But people in the neighborhood said people aren't driving like they're going through a residential area. Amy Reed is in studio to show us what police are doing about it. Amy?
Yeah, in the first 10 days of this construction on Gammon Road and Park Street, police stopped 96 cars. People in the area said that's helped, but they want to remind people they're guests in this neighborhood.
This is a residential street and normally pretty quiet. But with the detour now, it's all over the board.
While roads are closed on Gammon, people drive down Stonefield, and not always very well.
People not stopping and people going too fast. So we're doing the California stops, I guess. I just see one right now doing the California stop.
Police agree. Middleton PD said during their first 10 days of construction, they stopped 96 cars, gave out 70 warnings, and wrote 34 tickets. And the people here love it.
I even stopped and talked to one that was parked down in front of our house and just told them thank you very much and hopefully you're still sticking around.
They said drivers have been pretty good ever since, but it's still busy.
It's been 3 or 4 times usual, I would say. Normally when I'm leaving home, I don't have to sit at the corner and wait to get out on Stonefield, but now most of the time I do.
At the edges of the detour stretch, police put out radars to keep drivers in check, blinking numbers reminding them to go no more than 25 miles an hour. In the middle of the block, some people have put out signs, slow down and watch for kids. And the neighbors hope that the drivers listen. And the construction goes quickly.
Hopefully that August will come about and it'll be over and done with pretty soon.
The neighbors did tell me that they knew this was going to happen and the traffic actually hasn't been as bad as they thought.
Amy, thank you.
A Wisconsin prosecutor says he will not file charges against 3 high school students who gave their classmates brownies laced with a male enhancement supplement. Rock County District Attorney David O'Leary and Clinton Police Chief David Hooker say the students secretly laced the brownies with something called Zerexin and gave those brownies to their classmates as a senior prank. This was in May. 5 students did get sick. O'Leary says the pranksters never intended to hurt anyone. They've apologized and agreed to cover any medical expenses.
There was a small fire today at Camp Randall around 2:15 this afternoon. The fire department says 2 employees at the stadium saw a machine on fire and were able to put it out with a fire extinguisher. When crews arrived, the machine was still smoking. No injuries were reported. In Lake Delton, fire crews are calling it the best case scenario after a fire at a furniture company today. The fire was spotted in a dust collector around 1:30 by an employee at Waterman Log Crafters. The Lake Delton fire chief says in total 11 fire departments came to the scene. The fire was contained to the dust collector and there were no injuries.
Another $3.5 million has been awarded to more than 50 school districts all across Wisconsin, including a few right here in our area. State Attorney General Brad Schimmel made that announcement today as part of his school safety grant program. The Middleton Cross Plains District was awarded $220,000. Waunakee will receive $123,000. Milton, $140,000. Beaver Dam, Lake Mills, Parkview, and Reedsburg also received money. All of it will be used for safety upgrades.
The American Red Cross is in desperate need for blood donations, prompting what they are calling an emergency shortage. Red Cross officials warned of the emergency last week, saying more than 550 fewer blood drives were organized by businesses and other community groups last week. Officials said as people across the country celebrated the 4th of July holiday, there were 15,000 fewer donations than needed. Dane County will remove the slow no-wake orders on several area lakes tomorrow as water levels start to recede. The restrictions will be lifted at noon tomorrow for Lakes Monona, Waubesa, and Kaganza. The restriction will still be in effect in Squaw Bay on Lake Monona.
Tomorrow, CBS This Morning is making a trip to Wisconsin.
There are hundreds of shipwrecks lying on the bottom of the Great Lakes, and divers are trying to find hundreds more. But some of them may be deteriorating faster than anybody thought. The reason? Tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
And CBS This Morning starts at 7 a.m. immediately after News 3 This Morning. Still to come tonight at 10. If you're in the market for a new car, have you thought about going electric?
When we come back, the benefits and fallbacks, what you need to know before going gas-free. Stay with us. Welcome back. As technology improves and gas prices continue to inch upward, some people are considering buying an all-electric vehicle.
But there are a lot of confusing terms like PHEVs and EVs. And what about charging your car? It all adds up to the question, is an electric car right for you? We asked our Mark Kane to help us sort it all out. It's only on News 3.
The first thing that strikes you when you drive an electric car is how quiet they are and fast. There are now 40 vehicles on the market with various degrees of all-electric driving. PHEVs can run on all-electric power for a certain number of miles, usually under 75, before a gasoline engine takes over. So in theory, they have an unlimited range, as long as you keep filling up the gas tank.
So all you do is just...
Then there are EVs. They are totally electric. Battery power only. When the juice runs out, you stop moving forward. 5 manufacturers sell new EVs in Wisconsin, from Tesla to Jaguar to BMW, plus the more affordable Chevy Bolt and the redesigned Nissan Leaf. The Leaf can go 151 miles on a charge. You need to plan ahead.
3 key issues with electric cars right now. It's range, how far can you go on a charge? It's charge time, how long it takes you to recharge that battery. And the final one is cost, because batteries are still very expensive.
This top-of-the-line 2018 Leaf is $38,500. It starts around $30,000, not including tax breaks and rebates, which can run into the thousands of dollars. But the cost doesn't matter much if the car isn't practical. RidesAndDrives.com editor and News 3 auto expert Harvey Briggs says these cars are getting better at that.
You know, if I live inside the Beltline here in Madison and I drive it to work downtown and back, you're going to be able to drive this car 95% of the time. But if you have kids and you've got soccer tournaments out of town and you're doing weekend trips down to Chicago and all that other stuff, well, now you're going to want to have either a hybrid, range extended gas car, electric car, or, you know, a second car that's just a gas car.
Madison Gas and Electric has a new Chevy Bolt, the one with the use no gas license plate. It gets 238 miles on a charge.
Connect it.
And card beeps?
Card beeps.
And this lights up to show you you're charging. Couldn't be much easier, could it?
It's very easy.
Debbie Branson is the voice behind MG&E's EV Rider program. Her job is to take the mystery out of electric vehicles, including demonstration of the company's fast charging stations. Does it intentionally look like a gas pump?
It does. Yeah. That makes people feel better.
There are 50 public charging stations in Madison right now. MG&E owns 29, but 80% of EV charging happens at home. You could just plug your car into a standard outlet.
If you've got like an all-electric, like this is a 60 kilowatt hour, so that could take you 50 hours on level 1.
So you'll need to install a level 2 charger in your garage. It's 240 volts, like your dryer. So you need to hire an electrician and buy a charger for about $500, or you can take advantage of MG&E's Charge at Home program.
We install it, we own it, and we maintain it. So for customers, if they're a little like, what do I need to do? How much does it cost? This is a way for us to kind of manage the whole process from start to finish. And then they pay about $20 a month. Then they have, but plus they have to pay the cost of electricity.
Which off-peak is 10 cents an hour if you sign up for a special program. That's about $2 a charge, 50% cheaper than gas right now. That's appealing to a lot of people.
And we've moved from the early adopters who were buying it really because I think they liked the technology, they found it interesting, to mainstream drivers that just people like the look of a Tesla. They like that it's fast. If you're going to buy a new vehicle, it's another option to consider. You just need to think about how you're going to charge it instead of going to the gas station.
And how you're going to drive and where you have to drive.
Right.
It's just modifying one's behavior.
You just pull it in the garage, plug it in every night automatically.
You plug in your cell phone, plug in your car.
Exactly. It's no different than that type of behavior.
In Madison, I'm Mark Kane, WISC News 3.
That's pretty interesting. And then more and more businesses are installing free chargers for their employees, and some area businesses also provide free hookups. Otherwise, MG&E charges $2 an hour at its charging stations.
You can learn more about EVS and the location of charging stations in Dane County at energy2030together.com/EV Rider.
All right, let's get to Gary now as we take a look at the forecast. Felt that humidity out there again today after a beautiful weekend.
Still sticking around, but already in northern Wisconsin, you can see the dew point temperatures are dropping, so the weather should be more comfortable for tomorrow. As we take a look at Weather Track, you can see that the clouds that we had earlier are really starting to thin out. The rain, which there was very little of, is just about gone out over northern Lake Michigan. And temperatures are still around 80 here in southern Wisconsin. Notice the northern part of the state, temperatures have dropped into the 60s, with dew point temperatures in the 50s already in Rhinelander. You see the air is noticeably drier than here in Madison, where the dew point is still at 71 degrees. So as that drier air works its way southward, we will definitely feel a change for tomorrow, even though temperatures will still be in the middle 80s. And here's Doppler track. You know, again, those few showers and a couple of isolated thunderstorms have pretty much fallen apart. But the high temperature trend over the next 7 days, temperatures staying in the mid to upper 80s, and the average high temperature is 82. Time lapse from the Platteville Queeby Radio Skycam this morning showed just some cirrus clouds overhead, then bright sunshine for much of the day, and then a few clouds tried to pop up during the afternoon, but none of them were able to produce any rain over southern Wisconsin. The live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, it's nice out there, but it's still humid. The high temperature today, 88 degrees in Madison. 68 was the overnight low temperature, well above the normals of 82 and 61. And right now we're still at 80 degrees. The air is calm, so you don't even have a breeze to make you feel a little bit better. better. The heat index is at 84, so it feels 4 degrees warmer than the temperature because that humidity is at 74% and the dew point temperature is right around 70. In the Atlantic Ocean, we have a tropical storm. This has been just off the Carolina coast over the last 12 hours, and it is Tropical Storm Chris. Top winds right now just below hurricane force, 70 miles per hour. This is the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. Still nearly stationary, but the forecast track from the National Hurricane Center takes it slowly to the northeast as a Category 1 hurricane, and then as it starts to accelerate, it remains about a Category 1 hurricane, but it's well off the coast. Might bring some wave action along the eastern coast of North America, maybe heading over Newfoundland, and as a strong subtropical weather system where it loses its tropical characteristics, becomes more like a mid-latitude low-pressure system, strong storm system, still bringing some pretty strong winds even as it heads out into the Atlantic Ocean. But weather track right now, the jet stream's almost right over us, and that divides slightly cooler air to the north to the warmer and more humid air to the south, and we're going to be right near or just south of the jet stream, so our temperatures are going to stay warm through the end of the week. 66 for the overnight low temperature, partly cloudy skies, mild conditions, not looking for any rain from here on out. Tomorrow still very warm, not as humid though, high temperature at 85, heat index values mid to upper 80s. On future track, look for low temperatures to drop in the middle 60s. For tomorrow, look for high temperatures in the middle 80s with partly sunny skies. Tomorrow night, those temperatures a little cooler, lower 60s, a little less humidity, and then high temperatures back in the mid to upper 80s on Wednesday. 7 to 10 day forecast, those temperatures back in the mid to upper 80s, a little more humidity toward the end of the week. That could lead to a slight chance of a thunderstorm Thursday night. A little better chance on Friday. For the weekend, high temperatures will be around 90 degrees with heat index values into the 90s. You know, it's just like we go every other weekend. Last weekend was hot, or this weekend was nice.
Yeah.
Next weekend is hot, you know, so it's like every other weekend.
Plan accordingly.
We're ready for another hot weekend.
Okay. Thanks, Gary.
Sure.
Well, it looks like the Brewers' Jesus Aguilar knows how to churn up some votes for the All-Star game, but was it enough against the Marlins? The story coming up in sports.
The Brewers begin an 8-game road trip that'll take them to the All-Star break. They'll play 4 in Miami, then 4 in Pittsburgh. Now they have 3 National League All-Stars, and they hope Jesus Aguilar will be the 4th. Aguilar, one of 5 players who have a chance to get the last spot on the National League All-Star team. Fans can vote until Wednesday afternoon at 3 on MLB.com or Brewers.com. He has the best numbers, but a couple of those big market guys will certainly get some support from their fans, too. Now, Aguilar didn't do anything to hurt his chances tonight as the Brewers played the Marlins. He hit his 23rd homer of the season. He has 64 runs batted in. That homer gives the Brewers a 2-0 lead. But all-star reliever Josh Hader didn't quite have as good a night. Trying to protect a 2-1 lead, Hader gave up consecutive homers to Starlin Castro and Brian Anderson. The Marlins score off Corey Knebel in the 10th, and they win it 4-3 over the Brewers. In San Francisco right now, 5th inning, Cubs 1, Giants nothing. Reports continue to suggest the Brewers are among the teams with a good shot at acquiring Orioles shortstop Manny Machado in trade soon. Until it happens, though, Machado has to deal with all the rumors.
I'm just a ball player. I'm just trying to win some games. I'm trying to be myself. I'm trying to go out there and have fun. And I think that's the only thing that keeps me going is, that I love this game so much, and I'm able to go out there every day and, put on a show and, be the best player I can out there.
Madison Mallards finally won their first game in the second half of the Northwoods League season, a 3-0 win at Battle Creek this afternoon. The Mallards will host Kenosha tomorrow night, 7:05 at Warner Park. 11 new members will be inducted into the University of Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame this fall, and the unveiling of the new members begins today. The first name announced today is women's basketball star Jolene Anderson. She set the state high school scoring record when she played at South Shore in Port Wing, Wisconsin, then came to Madison to become the Badgers' all-time leading scorer for men's and women's basketball, 2,312 points. She's currently playing professional basketball in Italy, and this September, Jolene Anderson will be inducted into the UW Athletics Hall of Fame. The NBA Summer League continues in Las Vegas. Tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks play the Denver Nuggets. And Sterling Brown, well, he certainly was in the news off season, and he's been playing very well in the Summer League so far. Brown scores 16 in the first half, 27 in the game. And Christian Wood has shown some good things, too. Here's a nice lob for the dunk, but the Nuggets are the winners tonight, 90-83 over the Bucks. The Packers announced the Steve Miller Band will perform a free concert outside Lambeau Field Saturday, September 8th, the day before the regular season opener against the Bears. It's part of the team's celebration of its 100th season. World Cup semifinals tomorrow. France and Belgium play in St. Petersburg at 1 tomorrow afternoon, Madison time. Then Wednesday at 1, it's Croatia and England in Moscow. The World Cup final is Sunday in Moscow. And at Wimbledon, Japan's Kei Nishikori is playing Ernesto Gulbis. Watch this point. It's a dandy. Nishikori finishes down the line for the winner, but a closer look shows how Nishikori had to be very, very careful with a shot he hit between his legs. He won the match in 4 sets, but be careful out there, and we'll be right back.
There's a 10-day forecast. Lots of heat in there, mid to upper 80s for 9 of the next 10 days. Some thunderstorm chances as the humidity levels come up, but most of the time it won't be raining. Have to wait till late next week for some relief.
Gary, thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Now.